Hey, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. A Return to School, Tensura x COTE, by Asuryii. Chapter 7. Texting can be a reunion, right? The president looked at me peculiarly with a slightly curious gaze while he still tried to maintain an impassive, calm expression. It was for a split second, but I saw a small smirk cross his face before he spoke. Nagumo is a second-year Class A student and is the current Student Council Vice President. I would say more, but the look on your face says you're satisfied with just knowing that he is a member of the council and a second year like Kiryuan. He got the message I expressed in my eyes, thankfully. I just wanted to know his grade and class, but knowing he is on the student council does make interesting prospects for the future. Horikita-senpai. I would first like to say I look forward to working with you going forward, but I have two more questions. What benefits come with being a member of the student council, and along with that, what is the position I will be taking? And for my second question, would you like me to do something about the vice president? I only ask as the way you worded it. You would prefer another person to take his position. I looked toward Fuka for the first time since the president came to my dorm and saw an interesting yet expected spectacle. She was calmly enjoying the tea I made while having a clearly victorious look on her face at the situation she found unfolding before her eyes. I haven't seen Fuka with that look in quite a while. Though based on the events unfolding, I feel she made a deal with someone about this interaction, or she just got an outcome she was hoping for. One that would supply her with more entertainment. Maybe I will mess with her, but not right now. I will not confirm nor deny anything in regards to Nagumo, but with your question regarding the role you will take and benefits. I cannot say most of your benefits as a student council member immediately, but I can say that you will be paid monthly based on your position. Currently I'd have you as a secretary, and that lands you with 200,000 points per month. I will however be able to grant you basic access to certain information depending on the job you take. I'd personally like you to become a secretary, but there are other positions. After he finished speaking, he calmly took a sip of the tea and seemingly enjoyed it, but I was more focused on some details mentioned. He won't say anything about the VP, meaning he either wants me to figure it out, cannot say anything as of now, or is confirming in a roundabout way. The different expressions he's held during our conversation lead me to think it is the third option, but I can determine this slowly. The information I can gain as of now will be limited clearly. So that means certain conditions being fulfilled may give me more information. I stopped thinking as I looked back at the SCP as a small smirk crossed my face. I'd made my decision. Horikita-senpai. I am looking forward to the future. I would be honored to take the role of a secretary on the student council. For now, I won't leave you disappointed. A satisfied smile filled the president's face as he looked me straight in the eyes. Well, I hope you keep your word. Kiryuan here has spoken about you quite a bit, and the actions I've seen so far have certainly lived up to her words. I look forward to the next thing you'll show. I certainly won't disappoint. I already have a few plans in mind and goals I intend to achieve. I watched as the SCP calmly nodded. We then shared a small exchange of conversation on what my role has to do in the student council before he excused himself and we bid farewell. Well, Fuka, I can say I didn't expect to meet the SCP on the first day. I can see why you find him interesting. He certainly has a clear understanding of the potential people hold and the things they may be capable of. He wouldn't have offered me that position without knowing that I may still be holding more. But that could also be your fault, right? Fuka looked at me with a soft smile that didn't reach her eyes, though rather than this being a smile I'd see on Lucia when Velda did something stupid, this was clearly Fuka telling me to keep talking. I take it the reason you called the SCP was to get him to evaluate me and ask me into a position I'd assume at times you were offered but denied. Further than that, I really feel like you're hiding something else from me, but I won't pry. I sat back down at the dining table and had some small chat with Fuka before she dropped a bombshell on me. Rimuru. Yes, Fuka. I looked up to see an apprehensive look on Fuka's face, which was extremely uncharacteristic of her. I felt discomforted at the look she wore, but I looked her in the eyes and listened intently. I'm too lazy to get up. Huh? You of all people are too lazy to get up? Are you sick or something? Here, let me. Oh ho. You're worried about me. What is this? Were you going to offer to take care of me till I was better? Or? Yes. I replied curtly and bluntly. She looked at me blankly as she thought for a moment, realizing this wasn't out of character for me, in any way. You're no fun. You're supposed to act all honored to be taking care of a beautiful woman like me. Well, whatever. What I was going to say was, if you fail to maintain your status as a Class A student or fail at entertaining me, I will get you expelled. I looked at Fuka, who wore a wide smirk with a stupefied look. She just threatened to get me expelled if I can't entertain her or I lose my place in Class A. The look she had on her face said she was entirely serious, but I was still vehemently dumbfounded at how ballsy she'd become. Fuka. Are you saying you intend to force me to entertain you, which I expected, but also you intend to always have a knife threatening to cut me loose? You do realize what this means, right? That I will go against you if you bore me. Yes. I am very aware of the meaning of my words. I can't be with someone who bores me. With someone? Fuka, are you possibly implying that? No, I am not. But since you thought of it, does that mean that you? No, I am not, but I wouldn't mind either way. Odd. You're odd. Very odd. Just say you're in love with me or something like that. Don't worry, I'll make sure to take care of my entertainment provider. Fuka looked at me with a smug, teasing grin as if she'd gotten the last laugh. I don't know, Fuka. I constantly felt your jealous gaze whenever I conversed with another girl before coming here. I would have to say, I think you should just admit it. Besides, I don't mind spoiling an entertainment-hungry woman. Huh. You really can be annoying sometimes. Shouldn't you as a gentleman let a poor woman like myself win? You'll never get a girlfriend at this rate. She shook her head as she held back a laugh, clearly finding her own words amusing. I am an advocate of true gender equality. You have also stated before that backing down because someone is a woman is only something a bitch would do. But I can get a girlfriend just fine. I am more worried that you cannot get a boyfriend. After all, not a soul can deal with your attitude besides me. TCH. I did certainly say something like that before, but for your information, Rimuru, I could get a boyfriend. Just none have been interesting enough. Her words trailed off as she had a look of deep thought on her face. Well, that's too bad, Fuka. I suppose I'm not interesting, so that means I couldn't possibly entertain you. I have truly failed. Now don't go misconstruing my words. Those are separate matters entirely. I looked at Fuka blankly for a moment before we both stifled a laugh. This atmosphere was nice to be in again. Well, Fuka, it's good to see you again. We'll have to hang out more like we used to. We will. I suppose I will be heading out for now. It's good to see you again, Rimuru. I proceeded to walk Fuka to the second-year dorms despite her adamantly saying it was unnecessary, but I had my reasons. Good night, Fuka. I said my goodbyes and returned to my dorm. Well, I can pop up and surprise her later now. She definitely knew my intentions. Guess I will contact Kyo and them. You have created a group chat. Participants Kyo, Yuki, Shuru, you. Tis a reunion, say hello. 2042 Yuki, hey guys. It's nice to talk to you again. 2043. Shuru, it is, but shouldn't you have said who you were for Kiyotaka? 2043. Yuki, 2044 Kyo, Rimuru, what is exactly happening? 2045. Kyo. You should remember them, it's Yuki and Shuru. 2045. Yuki, hey Kiyotaka, it's been a while. Oh, I almost forgot it's Yuki. 2046. Shuru, yo Kiyotaka, been quite a while since we last spoke. Surely you didn't forget us. 2046. Kyo, oh. Yuki, Shuru. It has been a while, I didn't expect this. I won't lie. 2047. I told you, old friends. I had been in contact with Yuki and Shuru, so I decided to ask them to apply here. When I told them you'd be going, they agreed immediately. 2048. Shuru. Well, at least we'll have someone we know in school though. We were placed in separate classes. All four of us. I'm in Class C, Rimuru in Class A, Yuki in Class B, and you in Class D. 2048. Yuki, I would have expected you to be in Class A. Kiyotaka. You being in Class D is a surprise. 2049. He wants to have a lovely married life to peaceful life, Chan. 2050. Shuru, haha, why does that oddly fit you, Kiyotaka, but also not fit at all? 2050. Yuki, I can't see you having a peaceful life, Kiyotaka. Considering your abilities, you will attract a lot of attention. 2050. Kyo, I'm just average. 2052. Bullshit. 2052. Shuru, I second that. 2052. Yuki, if you're average, then I don't want to know what exceptional is. 2052. Well, I made this GC so we can all talk to each other and coordinate activities whenever we want. 2054. Shuru, don't go avoiding us, Kiyotaka. This isn't that place. 2054. Yuki, yeah. We're friends, so we should hang out and talk to each other. 2055. I agree with them, but I say we also keep our class matters to ourselves for the most part. It wouldn't be fun if I always knew what your classes were planning. And yes, Kyo, we're all friends. Don't overthink. 2056. Kyo, don't expose me like that. Not cool. 2057.
Shuru, I agree with what Rimuru said. But you're right, we are friends. 2057. Yuki, yeah. Well, technically we can be called childhood friends. So if anyone asks, we can just say that. 2058. Rimuru, I will treat you all to ice cream or something to celebrate the four of us getting back together. 2058. Kyo, I'm in. 2058. Shuru, aha. You replied so fast, Kiyotaka. Rimuru wasn't joking when he said you liked ice cream. 2059. Yuki, that felt so in and out of character for you that I don't know how to feel. We'll talk later, guys. GN. 2059. Shuru, oh, by the way, before I head to sleep, Kiyotaka, me and Rimuru are on the 4th floor of our dorm. 2059. Kyo, I'm on the same floor, 404, 2100. Rimuru, as fate would have it, I am 405 and Shuru is 406, 2100. Shuru, well, that makes things easy. I'm heading to bed now. Good night, guys. It was good to hear from you. 2101. Kyo, it was nice. Good night. 2101. Rimuru, good night. Look forward to that celebration. 2102. As I put down my phone, I cleared the table and cleaned up the mess Fuka intentionally left behind. She seriously already made herself at home in my dorm. Day 1. Well, Kyo hasn't exactly learned a lot of things. The same goes for the other two, so they may consider the others friends but still have no clue how or when someone becomes friends. I stared at my ceiling as I prepared to fall asleep on my first day at ANHS. Well, Yuki is the closest to understanding the idea of friends. Shuru has some semblance of an idea, but Kyo, he is way off. I highly doubt his mindset will change anytime soon. The chance he sees them as friends does exist but is very unlikely at the moment. Closing my eyes, I drifted off to sleep, satisfied with the way the first day had gone. I was also left curious about what my class may do the next day. I still fully intend to get rid of that green-haired idiot. I know his name but care little to acknowledge it. Dash 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 dash. Walking into class the next day, I was greeted with a pleasant surprise. Peace and quiet. Nope, just kidding. I was greeted by not having to deal with children fighting over a role as a leader. Seriously, why fight over the role when having more than one person on top giving opinions and formulating plans? 2 heads is better than 1. If one person began to fall behind, then the second watching on could correct the mistakes. I, on the other hand, intend to fix all these mistakes myself. Frankly, I don't see Kyo pursuing a peaceful life, and I don't see Shuru staying quiet. I can see Yuki taking a slow approach and trying to learn what she can, but Kyo is a pain in the ass. Sitting down at my desk, I looked to my seat partner Kamuro and greeted her. She and I engaged in a small chat before I felt a gaze, no 2 maybe 3 gazes on me. I peered around the room while maintaining the facade that I was looking at Kamuro and spotted the prying eyes. I finished my short exchange with Kamuro as she went to play on her phone. Sakyanagi. Katsuragi. Hashimoto. I am highly aware that platinum blue hair is quite a peculiar color, but there is no need to stare. Opening a book I bought, I waited for the responses to roll in. I figured they had a likely thought I knew they were watching me, but they likely didn't expect me to call them directly out. Or it could be the fact that I knew all of my classmates' names despite leaving before everyone's introductions. Hell, I knew the names of every single student in my year. I looked at the file I had access to telling me the names and classes of every student in the school. I had yet to look at the 2nd or 3rd years, since my interactions with them for the time being will be minimal at best. Naba-kun. I looked up from my book to see Sakayanagi looking at me with an oddly smug-looking grin. It was slightly unnerving since she had yet to do anything worth a smug grin, and at the fact that there is only one person I know whose smug grin I can genuinely appreciate. Just call me Rimuru, I respond better to my first name. So how can I help you? Chairman Sakayanagi's daughter, Sakayanagi Arisu. I looked her in the eyes as I mouthed out the second half of my response to Sakayanagi, which got me a slightly widened look in her eyes before she smiled and spoke. Yesterday you mentioned that neither party between Katsuragi and myself was suited or qualified for the role of Class A's leader. I felt that the class felt as a whole we were curious as to what you feel qualifies a leader and who you'd rather support. As the first person in this school's history to achieve full marks on the entrance exams, your words may hold some meaning and weight to them. I immediately realized what was going on. The reason Kamuro never messaged me with a result yesterday is that they stopped the conversation and debate after I left. I can surmise that some people have already chosen sides and others have remained neutral, but the neutral group has more people than the two sides together. This also confirms a thought I had about Sakayanagi from prior conversations with the chairman. She values the status of a genius highly. She likely believes in nature in the nature versus nurture argument. Well, Sakayanagi, I don't mind divulging my opinion. I can see that after my words yesterday the debate was put off to the side. Yet despite this some people have already chosen sides. Examples would likely be Hashimoto and Green Yahiko. Personally, in my humble opinion, a leader is someone who can accurately determine roles and positions suited to various people. A leader should hold the ability to make others grow and become more well-rounded individuals or succeed in areas they previously lacked in. A person who can spearhead and take action on the fly or plan ahead, preparing for the future. This is a leader in my eyes, but further than that. A leader needs to be calm under pressure as they lead others. If your leader was nervous or scared, it may make you as an individual hesitant or bring group morale down. I don't think a leader has to be the smartest or the strongest person. Such qualities do help, but they are not absolute necessities. Though a leader should have some level of intelligence and ingenuity, as without it those below will be left to fend for themselves. You also can't be a leader if you are unwilling to accept the consequences of your actions, acknowledge your failures or inadequacies, understand those you are leading are cognizant conscious beings, and you need to be willing to make sacrifices for the good of those you led and know when to cut someone loose. Does this answer your question and satisfy your curiosity, Sakayanagi? I looked at Sakayanagi and then towards Katsuragi for a moment and saw looks of agreeance on both of their faces and a seemingly irking feeling. I would ask your question since it's clear both of you may have the same questions and this discussion is open to questioning by anyone. Please feel free to ask me anything. Within reason. I saw a few people disappointed at my request to keep it reasonable. You seem to be keenly aware of the needs and qualifications of a leader. You also have real-world experience, since I doubt there is a person who hasn't heard of the rise of the Nava Corporation from the actions you took. Why do you yourself not take the role of Class A's leader? Katsuragi spoke up and said what was on his mind. It was a valid question and thought which I actually had an answer to. I have had my time leading people to develop a company and grow influence. This is true, but I didn't wish to deprive others of the chance to grow and develop into capable people who will lead the future by doing that myself. I was more inclined personally to take the role of an advisor and someone who helps guide the class leader in moments they needed help themselves. No one is perfect by any means, and I felt it would be more prudent for the health of the class as a whole for me to remain as an advisor and a supporter. This, however, does not mean I intend to choose a side and support that person. I support the class as a whole. I have no desire to choose a side and possibly influence others to follow me due to my current status. I wish for you all to take measures and actions as students of ANHS Class 1A to determine who you feel is better suited as a leader.
Now, before you say this contradicts what I said yesterday, it does. As the class is, neither of you are fully suited to take the role as the sole leader of the class, but making factions and sabotaging each other does not help the class as a whole either. Anyone can sabotage another person, as humans as a species are greedy. Both you and Sakayanagi have vastly different thought processes and ways of doing things. This is clear, however, it doesn't cause problems, and in actuality it is a strength to be taken advantage of. Take this for example. Say the class had to expel a student, or every person in our class had to receive perfect scores to protect that student. One side may risk everything, not thinking of who's the weakest link in the possibility that the class fails, while the other could be determining what is the best course of action should the class fail. In this situation we have a clearly better way to manage, and that's the latter. However, the former also has its own merits. Taking this into account, you can see how not having a sole leader makes things clearer and leads to better scenarios. In my humble opinion, you both should cooperate and deliberate on actions to be taken at times. You shouldn't actively sabotage the other person to become the sole king or what have you, since that also affects the class. Try to amicably come to a decision on who should take the role of primary leader and who is the secondary leader. Some people handle certain situations better than others. In the case of physical activities, Katsuragi or myself would be more suited, but that doesn't mean we would always be better suited to deal with every situation. As I said, the delegation of roles is important in knowing when and when not to trust certain people. It took me a minute, but I just realized the amount of information I am sharing to the class as a whole and the various points I am making. They will clearly need a few minutes to process. This conversation will likely not finish today and will be continued tomorrow as class starts soon. I honestly agree with what Nava-san said. I'd have to agree with his points. The possibility of one person not being suited to every situation exists and is very likely. Rimuru taking the role of the class advisor is clearly the best way to go. What if Nava-kun was the leader? My classmates began speaking out various opinions and thoughts which all basically lined up with a few simple sentences. Rimuru clearly understands how to lead and people's capabilities. The situations he brought up do make sense to having different people take action according to the situation at hand. And lastly, I trust Rimuru. Success. This really was an easy endeavor to take on. The neutral party doesn't exist as they all support me now, and those who supported Katsuragi or Sakayanagi clearly understand and agree with my thoughts. In a sense, I made myself the class leader, but I will take action as an advisor and let others prove their worth in certain positions. It really is easy opening up people's eyes and making them realize the best course of action. All it takes is a little persuasion and confidence. The class quieted down as Mishima-sensei walked into the class and we started our second day. I had succeeded at gaining my classmates' favor and trust, along with making it clear that everyone can do something but not everyone should do something. Less than Rimuru, you really swayed your classmates' opinions and trust towards you with minimal action. Greater than less than, well, I learned from the best, greater than.